On my birthday, I got a message from my grandfather, the one I thought was dead. "Happy birthday, I'm alive." Shaking, I looked up the number. It led me to a nursing home. "They stole your house, your inheritance," he whispered when I got there. That night, I sent photos of him to our family group chat. Then I cut off their money, froze their bank accounts, and shut off their utilities. And that was just the start. Later, at my parents' house, my father said sharply, "Life is better without you around, less stress for everyone." From the kitchen, my mother laughed. "Don't be so mean, but really, maybe go spend your birthday somewhere else, we've got a lot going on." I stood there, holding my phone, staring at their dinner leftovers, half a cake, empty wine glasses, crumbs scattered on the table. They hadn't even made a place for me. My sister Sandra, eyes glued to her phone, said with fake cheer, "Oh, happy birthday. By the way, I was going to post an old photo of us, but figured you'd want privacy." I didn't ask why I wasn't invited. I already knew, I was always the outsider. The one who gave and worked and helped, but was never enough. I wasn't angry, I felt something colder, numb, like winter wind against glass. "Sure," I said, slipping my phone away, "enjoy your night." I didn't slam the door or yell, I just walked out, sat in my car, and stared through the windshield, trying to remember if they'd ever really cared. The drive home felt unreal, lights blurred by like melted glass. At home, I sat in the dark, I told myself I didn't care. But at midnight, I turned on my phone. One message waited. "Unknown number, happy birthday, I'm alive." It seemed like a cruel joke. I almost deleted it, but then I saw the contact name, Grandpa. He'd been dead for 3 years, at least, that's what they told me. I checked the number, it was from his old area code. I asked, "Me, who is this?" 3 dots appeared, then, "They lied, your house, your inheritance, they took it, I need your help." I couldn't sleep. I traced the number, it came from a nursing home not far away. I got in the car and drove. The place looked sad and forgotten. Inside, a nurse saw me and asked softly, "You mean Mr. Hardroof, room 214? I rushed to the room. An old man sat by the window, silver hair shining in the sun. When he saw me, he smiled. "I knew you'd come," he said. "Grandpa?" He nodded. "You're supposed to be dead," I whispered. "That's what they wanted you to think." He told me everything, how they faked his death to steal the house and money, how they locked him away when he wouldn't give it to them, how they told me the funeral was family only. He reached for my hand. I tried to fight them, but they said I was crazy, took my phone. I begged a nurse to let me send a message. She did. That was all I needed. I stood up. "I won't let them get away with this." His grip tightened. "Be careful, they'll do anything to keep what they stole." I left, my phone already dialing. Dad answered. "So, you finally remembered us," he said, annoyed. "I just saw Grandpa." Silence. "I know what you did. You're always ungrateful, don't start. You lied, you said he was dead, you stole his house and money, locked him away. Watch your mouth," he snapped. Mom took the phone. "Please, honey, we did it for the family." "No," I said, "you did it for yourselves." I hung up. They kept calling, but I ignored them. At home, I dug through old files. I found proof, records, texts, bank transfers. They'd been stealing Grandpa's money for years, thousands of dollars sent to accounts in my mother's and sister's names. The house and money were meant for me. Grandpa trusted them, and they betrayed him. Then my phone buzzed. A Facebook post from Mom. "Families are built on trust and forgiveness. Some people just can't let go of bitterness." Comments poured in. "Aunt Linda, don't worry, sweetie." "Uncle Mike, ungrateful is an understatement," Sandra said. Then, Sandra added, "He's always been the problem, always causing drama." They were twisting the story, they were making me look like the bad guy. My phone buzzed again. It was a text from Sandra. "Sandra, grow up, Grandpa's old, he doesn't remember half of what he says. If you want the house, fine, but you're not getting anything from me, you've always only thought about yourself." I wanted to throw my phone, but I didn't. Instead, I started saving everything, screenshots, documents, and photos, all the proof I needed. I put it into a folder on my laptop called Truth and saved it in 3 different places. They thought they could control the story. They thought I would give up like always, but they didn't know I was done being the obedient son. The cafe was quiet. I sat at a table in the corner with my laptop open. On the screen was my folder, labeled Truth. Inside was everything, the forged signatures, bank transfers, screenshots, and even the video of Grandpa in the nursing home. That was the proof that would end them. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, we're here, Please don't make a scene. I didn't answer. They would regret those words soon enough. The door opened, and I saw them walk in. Dad, stiff and angry. Mom, pale and nervous. Sandra, smiling, but I knew that smile, it was fake. They sat down without saying anything. I just stared at them, saying nothing. Mom finally spoke. Honey, can we talk? We're family. Family. I let the word hang in the air. Like when you told me Grandpa was dead? I asked. Like when you stole his house and locked him in a nursing home? Dad's face twisted with anger. Don't you dare. I clicked a file on my laptop, a video of Grandpa's weak voice. Grandpa, they stole it, the house, the money, everything, they lied to you. Mom's hand shot to her mouth. Dad leaned forward, whispering angrily. You think this will scare us? Your grandfather is senile, he doesn't know what he's saying. I clicked another file, a scanned document showing Grandpa's real signature next to the fake one. The room went silent. Then Sandra laughed, a bitter, mocking laugh. You think this makes you a hero? You're always so dramatic. Let's talk about reality. I clicked to the next file, screenshots of Sandra's social media posts, showing her vacations, designer clothes, and spa days, and then I showed the bank transfers from Grandpa's account to hers. Her smile disappeared. You had no right. No right? I cut her off. Like you had no right to steal the inheritance meant for me? No right to pretend Grandpa was dead? Mom's voice cracked. Please, sweetheart, we were just trying to protect you. You've always been so sensitive. Protect me? I leaned forward, my voice cold. You left him to die alone. You lied. You stole, and now you want me to smile and pretend everything's okay? Dad slammed his fist on the table. Enough, this is family business, and if you don't shut up, you'll regret it. I didn't flinch. Or what, you'll lie about me again? Like when you said I stole from you? Dad leaned in, face twisted with anger. You've always been difficult, always blaming us. No wonder Grandpa never wanted you around. I smiled. That's funny, because he's here. The door opened behind them. Grandpa stepped in, slowly, leaning on a cane. Mom went pale, Dad's jaw dropped, Sandra squeaked. Grandpa, hello, son. His voice was weak but steady. Surprised to see me? Dad stuttered. You. Grandpa, calmly, you told me I was losing my mind. You said I wasn't safe at home. You promised to take care of the house, but you only took care of yourselves. Mom's hands trembled. Please, Dad, we did it for you. You couldn't live alone anymore. We tried. Grandpa, sharply, tried to lock me away, tried to steal everything I worked for, tried to erase me. Dad stood up, furious. That's it, we're leaving. This is all a setup. Sit down. My voice cut through the air, and Dad actually froze. I have enough evidence to expose everything you've done, I said. You stole, you lied, you abandoned him, and now everyone will know. Mom started crying. Please, we can fix this, we can figure something out, we're family. No, we're not. I looked at each of them. From now on, you're strangers to me. Sandra's face twisted with rage. You think you're perfect? You think you can survive without us? I laughed. No, Sandra, I was nothing because of you, but now I'm free. I turned to Grandpa. Let's go, you don't need to waste another second with them. We walked out, and as we left, Dad screamed after us. You'll regret this, you'll always need us. But his voice faded. I helped Grandpa into the car, his hands shook, but his eyes were clear. Grandpa, are you sure you want to do this? I should have done it years ago, I said. We drove away, leaving behind the broken family. I blocked them all on my phone, Mom, Dad, Sandra, and I cut off their access to everything. I stopped all payments they depended on. The first call came an hour later, then another, and another. I watched my phone buzz, but I didn't answer. Grandpa, smiling, you really did it? Yes, I said, I did. The next morning, I called the bank and stopped their access to my accounts. I called the electric company, the water service, and the gas provider to cancel everything. At noon, I packed Grandpa's things from the nursing home. The staff was surprised. He's coming home, I said coldly. Grandpa climbed into the car, and for the first time in years, he smiled. Grandpa, I thought I'd die there. They wanted you to stay there, but that's over now. I took Grandpa to a new apartment I'd prepared for him, bright, spacious, overlooking a park. Grandpa stared in disbelief. This is for me? For us, I said, and for me too. I called the lawyer to make sure all the documents, about the house, the inheritance, and the bank accounts, were finally correct. No more fake signatures, no more lies. Then I turned off my phone. The next few days were peaceful, maybe too peaceful, but I enjoyed every moment. Each morning, I made coffee and sat by the window, watching the sunlight shine through the trees. Grandpa started waking up earlier and reading the newspaper. He even began to joke again. You know, I always wanted to grow roses, but your father said it was a waste of time. We'll grow them here, I told him, as many as you want. But the rest of the family didn't give up easily. A week later, I came home from the store and saw Sandra sitting on the front steps. Her face looked desperate. She hugged herself tightly. I know you can hear me, she shouted. You can't just leave us, we're your family. I walked past her and pulled out my keys. Family doesn't throw people away. She grabbed my arm, tears in her eyes. It was all a mistake, they thought it was best. No, I said, pulling my arm away. They only did what was best for themselves. As I opened the door, she shouted behind me. You've always been weak, you can't live without us. But she was wrong, I was finally free. The next morning, the power and water at their house were cut off. The lawyer texted me, they tried to reconnect, but the bank denied them any credit. Mom called me over 20 times, her voicemails were full of sobbing. How could you do this? We're your parents. Yes, we made mistakes, but you didn't have to destroy us. I didn't feel anything. Then Dad called, first angry, then crying, then saying nothing. His last voicemail said, you ruined us, but we'll be back, you'll never be happy without us. I smiled and deleted the message. One evening, Grandpa and I sat on the balcony. I drank tea, he was wrapped in a blanket beside me. You're stronger than I thought, he said quietly. No, I just had nothing left to lose. We sat together in silence, watching the lights of the city. I felt calm. For the first time in years, I felt safe. When I went back inside, I opened my laptop and did one more thing. I donated a large amount of money to a charity that helps elderly people who've been financially abused. It was the same amount they tried to steal. I changed my phone number. I deleted all their contacts. They were out of my life. In court, it was quiet and tense. My lawyer showed everything, fake signatures, stolen money, and a video of Grandpa, weak but clear, saying, they buried me alive. Dad exploded. This is a lie, he's fooling all of you. The judge slammed her gavel. Mr. Hargrove, sit down. Mom tried to cry, but there were no tears. Sandra just stared at the table, shaking. They had nothing to say, all their lies were out in the open. Then Grandpa stood up, his voice stronger than ever. They took everything from me, locked me away, but my grandson saved me. The judge gave her final decision. All property and money will go to Mr. Hargrove and his grandson. The rest of you must leave the house within 7 days. Dad shouted. You can't do this, that house is ours. No, I said, it never was. A week later, Grandpa and I arrived at the house. A sheriff's car was parked outside. Movers carried boxes out. My parents stood on the porch, Dad yelling, Mom crying, Sandra frozen. You can't take everything, Dad shouted. I didn't take it, I said, you stole it, I just took it back. Mom dropped to her knees in front of Grandpa. Please, Dad, we made mistakes, but we're your family. Grandpa looked down at her. You're not my family. Dad tried to come closer, but the sheriff stopped him. Step back, sir. They were pushed into an old car and driven away, still yelling at each other. We watched them go, their lies finally falling apart. Then, we made the house ours. We painted the walls, got new furniture, planted roses in the garden. The air smelled like fresh soil and hope. Every morning, Grandpa walked in the garden, his cane clicking on the path. He looked lighter, happier. You know, he said one morning, smiling, your father thought he was smart, but he never understood what true wisdom is. He learned it the hard way, I replied. But they didn't disappear. Letters started coming. Mom wrote, please, we were wrong, your dad is sick, we need help. Then Sandra, I lost my job, please, just some money. I read them, then I burned them. Dad never wrote, but I heard he lost his job, got into debt, and started drinking. He blamed me, of course he did. One night, Grandpa and I sat on the porch. The sun was setting behind the trees, the roses swayed in the breeze, glowing in the light. I thought I'd die in that nursing home, he said quietly. You'll never lose your home again, I told him. A car passed in the distance, but it didn't matter, that world was gone. I'm proud of you, Grandpa said, his voice shaky. You did what I couldn't. I did what they forced me to, I answered. And I felt it, the weight lift, the pain fade. We sat together in peace, watching the last light of the day shine on the home they tried to steal, a home they would never see again.